It really is.
What do you know about putting on lingerie?
Well,
I've known you a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen you in lacy panties.
And you won't.
You know what? I think I'm all right with that.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I just don't think that I would look good in lacy panties.
I'm not sure there are a whole lot of men.
I'm
that
utilitarian.
Maybe a Dwayne Johnson.
What about Dwayne Johnson? Well, we'll get into that.
Are we going to get into that? I don't think Dwayne would be interested.
Well, we're going to talk just for a moment about it. I know this isn't a sports show, but then again.
Oh, you're talking about Deshaun Watson.
Oh, wrong guy.
Yeah, wrong guy. Although maybe if one of those massage therapists had looked at him and said, Deshaun, I'll do it, but I need to see you in these panties.
I need to see your wallet.
Well, his paycheck is public. Everybody knows what he makes.
Depends on how many massage therapists he needs to pay off in a
66
in a given week. And all right, here we go.
Hit the button, baby.
This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I am your host, G Long. Across the way from me is Deb.
Hello, all.
I feel like we should get you a nickname. Deb the Wild Man. Just something.
Well, man, that's already inappropriate.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, it's 2020.
The Wild Person.
I'm not your man guy.
You're not my guy, buddy.
All right. We can't start with South Park.
Okay.
I don't want a nickname. I'm me.
Okay.
I didn't even in the SCA, I didn't have a fake name.
That's your nickname.
Deborah of Longville.
Mimi.
That is
Mimi.
Better than the Mimi in Hobby Lobby yesterday I wanted to take that woman aside and say, look, the way you get your grandchild to stop screaming Mimi, 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 because I was hating it.
Is smack her right in the head.
No, she just needed some logic and reasoning and distraction.
Logic and reasoning with how old of a child?
6-ish, 7-ish. All she wanted was a pumpkin.
Violence.
Just a pumpkin.
Sheer violence.
No, it distract her. Get her something else.
Trust
You're
me.
In
if
Hobby
somebody
Lobby.
smacks you in the head, you will be distracted.
Okay, so just imagine Hobby Lobby, the number of pumpkins and how many times. Mimi, I want a pumpkin. Mimi, I want a pumpkin.
Get the kid a damn pumpkin.
Well, at some point you got to stand by your no.
No, you have to stand by your man.
Okay. I think you need to stop that right there.
If you'd like to reach the excitement that is the Long in the Boot podcast.
Mimi and G Long.
The number is 337-502-9011. Email address is longintheboot@gmail.com.
I am forever impressed that you remember that. You're such a smart man.
Yeah, well.
That's why I married you.
It's all those years of clean living.
Bella, why aren't you barking?
Don't call her. She'll start barking.
Well, she should. She's slacking on her job.
Well, like Alice Cooper once said in the song, "School's back in session."
Yeah, he didn't really say that. You're going to have to save that one for May again.
Oh,
baby.
Okay.
May will come back around, though, as long as we don't blow all this shit up.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, I don't.
Some kind of weird polio is going to take us all down.
Polio, monkeypox. We don't even talk about COVID hardly at all anymore.
Rubella, measles, whooping cough. All those things that you can prevent.
What did you say today? Rickets.
Rickets is making a comeback. That's a lack of vitamin D from the sun. So you wonder why kids are obese, because they don't go outside and do anything.
Oh,
they get no sunlight.
I don't even know anymore. I really don't. I know I say that a lot, but it's the absolute truth.
Long in the future, way down the road, vampires will show up and they'll be like, well, these people live the same hours we do. This is great. They can't go see the sun because they're all, they burn up if
they're all
the
anemic.
Sunlight. Yeah.
They're not even worth it.
We're not even, it's like junk food. We can stop by Earth and pick up a human.
When we did the food episode, we did not even discuss
cannibalism.
Food. Well, no, you kind of did that with your
commercial,
sarcastic satire commercial.
Man, I sure hope somebody
unfriended and stopped the following, but we only lost one to that.
I wasn't,
and I'm pretty sure it was that because it was like next morning.
I am not a proponent of baby eating.
Well, I think we kind of indicated that, and
I thought the disclaimer at the end would help,
or you were offended by it, then maybe you do need to go on.
Well, no, you know what? You can send your emails.
Well, nobody complained.
You can send your emails to Jonathan Swift, care of Ireland.
All right. Well, you're really going back in history there, dear.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got a couple little things that are way back in history that were kind of fun. We were going to do an episode, of course, of shelter.
Well, yeah, because we
were going to talk about
the basic necessities of life,
the history of shelter, and going back to
and there were
caves.
some interesting things.
And there still is.
I've done a little bit of research, but
we'll get to it.
School started, and like I said, with the food thing, though, we never talked about food manufacturers and
bugs.
Well, we talked about bugs. That's the future. Although I did see a story too about banana peel flour.
Okay.
That you can make a flour out of banana peels. So that's far less, repulsive.
Hey, man, I had an uncle that said if you smoked banana peels, you would get high.
Yeah. Cheech and Chong taught me that.
Yeah. It doesn't work, by the way.
Oh, well, see, I was smart enough not to try.
It's pretty disgusting, actually.
Stop it. Pencil shavings.
Or at least it was.
My dad said
it was to the 15-year-old me.
They would smoke pencil shavings instead of tobacco.
Delicious wood.
I know. Well, at least it probably wasn't chemically treated like our food is.
And it was probably real pencils.
Because you're talking about obesity in children, and really a lot of that
I'm not. We're not. We're not going to talk
That's
about
not
obesity.
Our main topic.
Look, if you have fat children, you know it. We don't need to talk about it.
Well, it's just like our pets. If our pets are chunky, it's our fault.
Oh, yeah.
We did it.
Yep.
So the vet fusses at me if they're overweight.
This, of course, is speaking as an incredibly thin man myself.
Well, the older you get and the more comfortable you get. Also, when you first get together and you're happy with a partner, a lot of times you put on that. I
think most people out there who have gotten married know that there is a certain poundage
that comes along with it.
That just comes along with age. Yeah.
Comfort.
Sure. Motherhood.
A decent paycheck, motherhood, all those things. Life. How about that? Just life in general.
Yep.
We wanted to talk about news today.
Yeah, we're going to talk
some things that have aggravated you over the week, and you told me about. So I said, write it
over
down.
The week.
Well, yeah.
No, school has started. School started, and we're all back in our places with bright, shiny faces.
Yes, and the news, of course, has to give us all the things that are happening in classrooms across America.
Right.
Shocking.
And the news has also locally gone to some of the schools in the area, and
yes,
and they're getting back.
We're getting there. 2 years, and we're getting there.
And we are back in our classrooms, which is kind of nice.
After 2 years, it is nice. So, Long in the Boot community, G-Long and I are no longer sharing a classroom, and therefore we are not together 24/7.
There you go.
That's exciting. And now Habs is across the hall from me.
Oh, yeah, we are way far apart. I bet you we are 110 feet away from each other.
All the way down that hall. He's at the first. He's at one end. I'm at the other. I wave to you between classes.
And I wave back, of course.
Yes. Well, you better.
Yeah, well.
You ignore me, I'm going to.
Yeah, but you have to time your waves, because when you got kids coming up the hall, if I wave, they think I'm waving at them, and then it's weird. So.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Maybe we should get some mirrors. We could signal each other.
Signal.
Sure. Get some semaphore flags and stand in the hallway and do semaphore.
You and Habs down there chatting.
With flags.
Yes, I could see Habs with
Anyway, as school was getting back in session, I started coming across all kinds of weird stories about school boards and schools, and especially the C word. That's right, the C word.
Not my C word.
Censorship.
Mine is far more entertaining.
Censorship drives me absolutely bonkers. I'm not a proponent of giving information to people when they are too young to understand it, but I am absolutely against adults making decisions about things that affect everybody when it's their own personal viewpoint
or their own just moral judgment.
So you have people now where it's one person going, I don't think this book should be in the library.
Yes.
And no one should read it.
And we hear it. It just is a continual cycle.
It never stops. And school boards have been a site for a lot of these kind of protests.
And right now, the headline, of course, that draws the attention is Anne Frank. We need to pull Anne Frank.
Yeah, Anne Frank, that was the most recent, is in Texas. They want to remove Anne Frank from the school library and from the curriculum.
Well, amen.
Well, no, what they're trying to do now is, I didn't realize that.
It's not a man trying to get it done?
Oh, of course it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he says it's disgusting and nasty. And
has he read it? I'm sure he has.
No.
He didn't go read a 13-year-old girl's diary. I'm sure he did not. And I taught that for, probably about 9 years. And no complaints. No complaints. No kids ruined by it.
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of. They can come back and tell me now. Many of them listen now because they're of age. They have their own kids. Well,
I would like to congratulate Texas, at least the people in this particular area. Here's the thing that was happening. In Texas, they decided to ban Anne Frank, but it was a graphic novel version of the book for younger people. It's done in an animated looking style.
Okay.
But it's still the Anne Frank story.
Yes. And her own father had edited her diary initially before publication. He did take out some of her thoughts about, sex. I mean, she was of that age.
Well, this is near Fort Worth.
It was happening.
I thought what was interesting was, and this is the part as I did research, I did not realize they had also removed the Bible from the shelf in the library.
Oh, so they were balanced about it.
Well, somebody pointed out that the Bible had themes that were just the same as the graphic adaptation of the Anne Frank diary comic book.
Okay,
again.
So they were balanced about their censorship.
Yes. The school's superintendent says that they are not banning the book. They are banning a version of the Anne Frank diary from the school library. My thing is, of course, just read it. They've already banned Mouse from schools across the nation.
Yeah, I did see that. We had just gotten that in the library.
And Mouse is a comic book about the Holocaust.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think look, if you don't want your child to read it, you can make that expressly known to a school.
The actual history itself is pretty shocking.
But Anne Frank was just a middle school age girl dealing with, let's face it, as big a event as you could possibly deal with. It wasn't as if she didn't know what was happening to her people.
Yeah. Well, that's why they were hiding. She absolutely knew.
And the idea
and guess what? She was intelligent.
The idea that one man would, try to pull that book, and then you start finding out, in fact, in Texas in this place, 40 books actually were on the list for removal.
Well, and they're probably the same books that they've always been trying to get rid of.
Well, some of them are books that some people might not like their middle-aged school kids reading. But I think at that point you have to put them, if anything, in a separate area of the library. But you can't ban it. But now these groups that have been working on schools are now attacking public library boards.
Oh, they're taking it out of the school system.
They want books removed from the public library.
No, the public library is everything.
And I don't really want to focus on schools and censorship that much because then you're getting into
because then you have other issues. I mean, there is.
Yes.
I can recall going to the library. We had two books: one questions girls ask, and one questions boys ask. And I wanted to check out questions boys ask. And the librarian said, because I already knew what girls wanted to know. I was a girl. I was about maybe 6th, 7th grade. And she said, you can check it out after I contact your father to make sure that it's okay. And that was fine because it was in a bookshelf close to the librarian's desk.
Yeah.
So she absolutely knew when a student was over there looking. I changed my mind because I did not want my dad to know I was thinking about what boys were wondering,
Yeah.
So I did
You
not.
self-censored?
I self-censored. I never got the book and continued to wonder. My brain continued to make up all kinds of things.
What grade would this have been?
6th or 7th.
Boys at that age, what were they thinking about? They were thinking
Well, they weren't thinking about
girls.
Hygiene.
No.
They weren't thinking about deodorant. I know that.
Well, that hadn't become as important as it is today.
Oh, my Lord. 7th grade boys. Okay.
In schools,
but
for a
libraries should not be censored.
No, public libraries absolutely should not be censored.
And as a parent, take your kid and
if you have I'm not asking for them to have graphic magazines or something in the public library.
Well, no, but
because tax dollars go for that.
Yes.
But you can't express your opinion and then say everybody must view this issue under my umbrella,
under my moral guise.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a good example this week in the news, or it might have been last week now, I'm not sure. Salman Rushdie, for those of you who don't know, wrote a book back in 1989 called The Satanic Verses, which don't really have anything to do with Satan. That's just the title of the book. And it's a strange book. I tried to read it. I couldn't do it. But in a nutshell, a character in the book named Gabriel and Saladin, who is a famous warrior from the Middle Ages. Gabriel falls into, he's transformed into the Archangel Gabriel in this book. And he falls into the Atlantic Ocean. And while he's there, he has a bunch of dreams, including one about an alternate universe founded in Islam by a man named, get this, Muhammad.
Oh.
In these visions, the emerging religion allows the worship of many goddesses, he's talking about Islam, and doubt is cast on the divine nature of the prophet's words, the prophet being Muhammad.
Well, that sounds very similar to the last temptation of Christ. How did the
Rushdie went so far
faith
as to name one of the book's prostitute characters after one of Muhammad's wives?
Oh. So how did they feel about
this? Wait a minute. Hang on. Readers later learn that all of these visions were sent by Satan. And so that's where the thing comes from. It's Satan trying to mess with people.
So this is what got him put on the hit list. I mean, the fact that the man got stabbed recently is actually only shocking in the fact that
if you didn't know why, like if you saw it on the news and you were 15, 16 years old, you wouldn't even know who he was
and why this was anything.
But in 1989, a fatwa was placed upon his head.
Why did it take him so long to get him? And then they only stabbed him.
They didn't do it. It was just some nutcase, but he was just using the fatwa because technically it's still in effect.
It's still there, yes.
Well, Ayatollah Khomeini, the Iranian leader who was responsible for the Iranian Revolution and all the hostages that were taken during Carter.
Yeah.
Well, he was the one that put the fatwa. And the fatwa actually instructs all Muslims to hunt and kill a person, not just kill him. Okay. It's you're required as a Muslim. If you were
it's part of your religious.
If you were to see him on the street and you were Muslim, you should try to kill him. That's how that fatwa thing works.
So again, it's really shocking and surprising that he's made it this long without harm coming to him.
And you say, well, gosh, thank goodness until this past week, nothing happened. Well, in 1991, a Japanese translator for the book was actually stabbed and killed by an unknown attacker. They still don't know who killed him, but he was killed because he translated the book into Japanese.
Well, we know they feel very strongly about the image of Muhammad.
Same year, an Italian translator was also stabbed for the same reason. He translated it. And a Turkish translator was attacked and set on fire.
Oh, wow.
Along with 37 other people, many of whom died. However, he didn't.
Oh, well, he made it through, although it probably not comfortably.
India banned the book in 1989. All of this has been going on all this time. So the reason Salman Rushdie was attacked, well, it's censorship. Again, we'll make you so afraid of having anything to do with that book. But translators, people who just took the word, I mean, first of all, Arabic into Japanese, how many people can do that?
How dare you have an idea and put it in print?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
That's really it. It's an idea. You put it down in print for others to read or not.
Yeah.
That's the other option.
You don't have to.
You don't have to listen to the podcast. You don't have to read the book. In fact, most people don't read the books anymore. So
make a movie.
To Kill a Mockingbird should be safe. Why do you want to get rid of that too? Actually, they've been trying to get rid of that since it was published.
Yeah, actually, let's see. The failed campaign to kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, they've been trying to ban that one for a long time, and for different reasons over the years, which is kind of fun.
Well, that shows the change in society. I mean, how can they allow you? Well, at the time,
1960 is the first attempt to ban the book,
and we know in American society we were heading to some serious racial. And it was coming to a head.
Yeah. And the school board in Virginia's Hanover County voted in 1966 to remove the book after board member W.C. Bosher found his son reading it, got upset, and said, the reason we are banning this book is because it is immoral and improper for our children.
And how is, well, here. I've got a quote.
Oh.
Okay, so sometimes the Bible in the hand of one man is worse than a whiskey bottle in the hand of another. There are some kind of men who are so busy worrying about the next world, they've never learned to live in this one.
Maybe so, yeah.
And pretty much society shows the results of that.
And at that time, letters to local newspapers in the South, and this was primarily a Southern phenomenon at the time, supported removing the book because they said the book focused on the discussion of rape.
It really doesn't focus on that. Can I give you
First of all, the rape didn't happen. The man that was accused didn't do it.
But he was killed for it.
And what Harper Lee said was, well, this is the same thing as Doublethink in 1984, which, by the way, the book removed along with To Kill a Mockingbird.
I was going to say both of those were.
She said the problem was one of illiteracy, not Marxism.
Oh, wow.
And she sent a large check to that school board towards a first grade education for the school board.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, here, I'm going to give you one more quote because I can absolutely see why they had to get this out of a classroom. As you grow older, you'll see white men cheat black men every day of your life. But let me tell you something, and don't you forget it. Whenever a white man does that to a black man, no matter who he is, how rich he is, or how fine a family he comes from, that white man is trash.
Yeah. So, I have a quote that's very similar to that. I bet it's the same person that said it.
Well, that was Atticus.
Yeah, okay. Today, the campaign against the book is mostly because of the N-word. 48 times it appears in the book.
Oh, so it's not these other, because they would probably agree with all of that, right?
They didn't have a problem with the N-word in 1966 Virginia.
Atticus had told his kids that,
that's what it says.
The court of law was the one place of equality in America. He still believed that in 1960, and I don't know today if I asked people, they would not think that.
Are people upset about the N-word, or are they in fact upset about what Atticus says when she asked him what the N-word lover, what that term meant? And he said, well, ignorant, trashy people use it when they think somebody's favoring Negroes over and above themselves. It's slipped into usage with some people like ourselves when they want a common ugly term to label somebody.
Oh.
So what are you really upset about?
Yeah,
are you upset about that or the actual N-word? And if you're upset about the N-word, then clearly you didn't read the book.
You don't understand.
It explains the reason.
You're taking something out of context. You're summing it up, and you don't understand the deeper meanings and themes behind it.
In Biloxi, they banned it in 2017, Biloxi, Mississippi. And a school board member said, well, we banned it because the book makes some people uncomfortable.
Some people. So again.
So books now have to be comfortable?
No, they should sometimes make you uncomfortable.
How will people learn about racism and tolerance and justice if they don't read?
Well, I did mention that in class. Since we've been in class a whole full week now, and the weather has allowed us to go to school for 5 days in a row. And I said, we are going to talk about many things because it's American literature, and there are going to be topics that are uncomfortable. And I looked at my class and I said, do you think there should be anything off the table And all of my students said, no, we should be able to discuss everything, because they understood in literature that without that, nothing gets solved. But we did agree that it has to be with respect.
Well, not to be outdone.
Yes, not to be outdone. What?
California, and the reason they want the book banned.
Okay.
Because the book has a white savior in it, and they say that is racist.
But we can't take it in context of the time.
And the black characters in the book they say are shallow.
Well, they are.
He was a poor, uneducated black man wrongly accused of a horrific crime. How was he supposed to act?
Yes, how was he going to defend himself? And I have read that complaint about the book.
Oh yeah, it's been around.
That was that, it's not really showing good white people.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't show white people in real high regard either.
No.
I mean,
for the majority.
And remember, again, what
Scout
people never do,
Jim.
Put it in its time.
Exactly. And that was part of me. We started the week talking about perspectives and what creates our perspectives. And they all came to understand that it's our society, everything that influences us, our parents, our family, our religion, our belief system, everything influences who we are. So that was my point. We have to take that into consideration when we read these texts.
It's the same reason you study history.
Yeah, so you understand the people of that time, so we know where we came from, so we know and understand who we are today and how far we've actually come.
And also, let's not forget, if you read literature, you learn to recognize the assholes.
Ah, very true. Very true.
It's very simple.
Yeah. Atticus pointed it out many times.
And I'd like to say that, well, thank goodness that there are people out there trying to protect us.
Well,
and our sensibilities.
Here, let's go back, because I know we're kind of all over the place tonight.
No, it's all about censorship.
Well, and communication, because that's one of our primary topics in our last 50 episodes. How we communicate with each other. And the other night on the nightly news, I've kind of started keeping this little journal of topics on the nightly news, because, they tell us all the news you need to know. That's always their tagline. And I'm like, do I really need to know this? So first thing, talking about communication that I've jotted down is the use suddenly of F POTUS.
Oh,
and F FLOTUS. Because we don't want to say former president.
Yeah, he's F POTUS.
He's the former president of the United States.
That's Biden
and
today.
The first lady is FLOTUS.
Can we all agree that just sounds like a turd floating?
It does. It all sounds okay. So
I had a good, healthy FLOTUS.
They love to hear themselves talk. I don't know why they'd want to abbreviate all of this, and it's not so hard to say President of the United States, but. The POTUS, the F POTUS, the FLOTUS, the F FLOTUS, the SCOTUS.
Yeah, that's when you get like psoriasis on your scrotum.
That is the Supreme Court
or
of the
it's
United
the Supreme
States.
Court of the United States. So almost the same thing.
In context, you need to know who they're talking about and what's going on.
It's wrinkly skin. Then no question about that.
Then does that mean that we said COTUS was the Congress of the United States? That'd be COTUS. Or we said the House of Reps. That's the Herodotus. So COTUS or Herodotus. I don't know which is better.
I don't know.
They're still the whores.
It's all stupid.
And then, of course, the Senate.
And this is just laziness. Somebody's got lazy fingers. What? Their fingers are probably fat.
Well, or did it happen like as an accident and then they just kept it? Like a news anchor is reading, the people that did the copy didn't write it out. They thought that the anchor would go former president of the United States.
I assume it was actually government speak that just made its way into print. Like the Secret Service, when referring to the president, probably just put POTUS.
Yeah, the POTUS.
Because they're supposed to refer to him as the president of the United States. And it's like, okay, but here's the thing. You don't have to write it out. But then I start thinking about when I give notes, you know how long it's been since I've written out the word government?
Well, but my nightly news, I want them to be more formal. And that's kind of my point about what's going on the nightly news that I need to know every damn night. I didn't care about Whitey Bulger. Yeah.
He was a mafioso.
Okay, so he got killed in prison.
No, but the reason he's famous because he avoided getting caught for so long.
And that was interesting. But he got
They did
caught,
a movie of him.
and they beat him to death. Okay.
I think Jack Nicholson might have played it.
So they did that. Well, first, actually, that
character.
night, they started with Mar-a-Lago and the Trump document search battle.
Yeah,
was the headline.
We'll see what happens with that.
Well, I don't. Okay, man, they won't let that go.
I just don't want to hear about him anymore.
I don't either. And that's what they're trying to do,
Can't
right?
he just take up painting?
No, and just kind of. No, I don't think that's in his nature. I don't think that's in his nature. But the news, well, everybody just wants him to
come on, Donald. We'll paint a spaniel.
Go away or get the office again. I don't know. We'll see where America goes with all that. So we had that, and then we had the Salman Rushdie. So then we went on to Deshaun Watson, $5 million fine.
Well, this is just us talking. Yeah,
11 game suspension.
11 games.
So
what do you do?
They really
wait a minute.
Go
Hang
into
on.
What?
LITB Sports Talk.
It's like, I don't know, we're going to leave that to the call in your bluff boys. But this one kind of threw me because I didn't get a full detailed background of what actually happened, except that he had propositioned some massage therapists. The NFL didn't really seem to care a whole lot. And in the end, they said, well, he'll $5 million fine, 11 game suspension, because he's really nonviolent and he's going to rehabilitate himself. So I said, well, maybe I'm going to go look at this.
Yeah.
And the New York Times, am I allowed to use the P word?
Pen is?
Yeah.
Or Pen 15? That's actually
the P word.
That's the show, I think. I think it's a show called Pen 15.
Okay. Well,
say it. It was his penis.
It was his penis. They said it several times in this. Okay, so the NFL and 2 Texas grand juries declined to charge him criminally. So the NFL finally had to do something because apparently they knew this was going on.
You know what? I don't think anybody should read the New York Times. If it's going to have scandalous words like this, what needs to be banned? I don't want my middle-aged daughter reading the word penis.
Well, they were considering whether or not to discipline him when he signed his 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. Okay?
Oh, so his penis can play football.
Yeah, so that penis can run. It is time, Watson and his representatives said, for everyone to just move on. Don't worry about my penis. Don't worry about those massage therapists.
My penis will take care of itself. Just
There have been numerous civil lawsuits, of course, as well as interviews of some of the women. He engaged in questionable behavior and more than was previously known. The team representative furnished a non-disclosure agreement after a woman who is now suing him threatened an online exposure of his behavior.
Okay, but what is she suing him for? Seeing it?
Well, he completely denies
did
that
he touch her
anything.
in any way?
He did have to. Okay, so 17-month period. This all they say he said this all started because of COVID and he couldn't get his massages. And in a 17-month period, he had to. Oh, I'm sorry. I got too close to the.
Yeah, you were popping.
Mic. He had to employ 66 different massage therapists in 17 months. That's a lot of different. Usually it's like getting a hairdresser. You kind of stick with one.
Well, do you though? I mean, if you just go to a place in a major city.
Well, but you would think somebody who is an NFL player. And why didn't the NFL? Well,
why didn't he just get massages at the training camp? They must have massage therapists on staff.
That's my point.
Oh, so I know why. I bet I know. They won't touch his penis.
Well, he said publicly, he said he hired 40 different therapists over 5 seasons in Houston. The Times, though, found 66 different women in 17 months. And then a few
17 months is only a year and a half.
I know.
And 66.
So there have been some discrepancies and inconsistencies in the story. I like this one massage therapist though, because one woman who did not sue Watson or complain to the police told the Times that he was persistent in his request for sexual acts during the massage, including begging her to put her mouth on his penis. She said,
there's a word for that. What is that?
Sexual favors. She said, I had to tell him, no, I can't do that. She she won't say her name because she's trying to protect her family's privacy. She said, that's when I went into asking him questions like, what is it like being famous? I mean, like, what's going on? You're about to mess everything up. She sounded like a preschool teacher, kind of like distracting him from what he's trying to do. And, hey, buddy, you're about to screw up your whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sure was.
Although he balances that when Hurricane Harvey came into Houston in 2017, before his rookie season, he donated his first game check to the stadium cafeteria employees who were affected by the storm. So, see, I don't know about all those, women who complained that he turned massages sexual without consent, including purposely touching them with his penis and coercing sexual acts from them.
Oh, my Lord.
We don't really know when he began looking for so many women. So, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't realize that the hashtag Me Too movement has happened. The 66 women, 24 have sued him, including 2 who have filed suits within the last week.
They're probably not football fans. They just don't understand.
One woman sued him, and then she withdrew her complaint because of security concerns.
All right.
Yeah, I know.
And that was...
He's had 2 women...
Sports talk.
filed criminal complaints, and 15 who have issued statements of support, like saying, I wonder if those were men. It doesn't actually say.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's start a rumor.
Well, no, I'm saying like maybe 15 who supported him. Those were men who maybe he refused to have men.
Or maybe they did.
Or maybe, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know enough about it.
Has he been infected with monkeypox?
It was just on the nightly news, and they felt I needed to know, but they didn't give me enough information.
I'm not saying he's gay. I'm asking if he is a man who has sex with other men.
Well, yeah, because
then you can get monkeypox.
You can't use the G word, G-long.
No. Gay is apparently not. No. Can we go back to using it for happy then?
Well,
or has it just been taken off the table?
Because
completely?
I always had to explain that in
Can straight white
stories.
people take, white men take back gay?
The word gay and use it in that sense?
I'm just asking. I mean, I don't know.
I'm feeling gay.
Well, I still feel uncomfortable using that word. I think it should be banned.
Okay.
And everybody else who uses that word, it should be banned. That way nobody will be made to feel uncomfortable.
There you go. The final story of the night before the nightly news ends with their happy story, because they always have to give you one inspiring America.
The one massage therapist who actually touched his. Oh,
they before that, because those are always good. I actually like those. The drought, the extreme drought. We're all dying, and the meteorologist Jeff Masters said we can't keep living the way we do.
Yeah. Yeah. So bugs.
Nightly news, the things we need to know.
Actually, I heard a story today, and I didn't see the actual product, but I heard it verbally described. They're trying to come up with a cooking oil made from bugs.
Wow.
And apparently they can get this
oil out of bugs?
Oily substance.
Ew. Ew.
Hang on. Let me tell you the process.
I know. I'm thinking about like.
Well, what they do is they take bugs and they scientifically mash them into a paste. And then they put them in a centrifuge.
But then oil
and the oily liquid that comes out
it separates.
Can be used to cook and bake.
How many tons of bugs?
Well, they didn't actually get into that. But what they did say in the story was they made a bunch of brownies. They're cakes, really. They look like cakes, or they said they look like cakes. But anyway, turns out that if you substitute half your oil with what I'm going to call bug guts.
Bug oil.
Then nobody noticed.
Okay.
But when they went above 50% of the oil being made of, again, bug guts, then, your microphone fell. It didn't even like the word.
Oh, Deshaun.
Yeah, it may not stay up. We're going to have to fix that.
It's like,
you need to tighten that knob right there.
You stop talking about my buttons.
Other side.
I'll deal with my buttons.
Right there, that one.
Okay.
Try that one.
All right.
Sorry about the noise.
At least I don't have a squeaky chair.
That's true.
Okay.
So anyway, bug guts.
Bug oil.
Yeah.
No, bug oil sounds more tolerable.
Well, no, that's how they'll frame it. But we all know just from the process, because you can see it. You just go outside, stomp on a bunch of bugs at night, look at that goo on the bottom of your shoe. Now put it in a centrifuge, and what comes out, you can cook with it. Yeah.
It's got to be
Speaking
processed.
of food.
No, it's got to be processed.
Louisiana.
Oh, no.
Excuse me. Washington Parish, Louisiana. The Louisiana sheriff in Washington Parish lost his tax lawsuit against Smith Angus Farm, to be correct. Multiple state agencies told Sheriff Randy Country Seal that he had no right to collect taxes from a rancher in his parish. He sued the rancher.
Well, he was actually collecting them?
He was trying.
Oh,
the rancher wouldn't give him the money.
Well, good on the rancher.
Louisiana cattle rancher Jason Smith has won a case filed against him by a county sheriff who wrongly claimed a state law that exempts Louisiana farm products from sales taxes.
Well, did the sheriff not know the law?
Go figure.
He thought he was exempt.
Decorated Marine Corps veteran Jason Smith retired from the service several years ago to go to work with his dad at Smith Angus Farm, a ranch that's been in the family for more than a century.
Wow.
The ranch has sold its beef directly to consumers since 2019, and it's a key part of the business. But selling meat has the Smith family farm at odds with Washington Parish Sheriff Randy Country Seal. And every time they
because they just call him Country.
Yeah. Who has sued in state court alleging that Smith's sales aren't covered under a state law that allows Louisiana farmers to sell products tax-free. Hello.
So that's the law. There it is. How smart how country do you need to be to understand that?
The sheriff's interpretation of the law was news to Jason Smith. I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's what he said. But then Smith did point out that the tax collection authority in Washington Parish is the sheriff. Yep. There you go. Well,
he should understand what he can and cannot get tax money on.
Well, and this is the weird part.
So he found the fact that it was not a walking
the sheriff
cow.
The sheriff went to lawyers representing the parish, and on advice of counsel determined that food like steaks and ground beef are not tax-exempt farm products.
Oh, well, okay. So his lawyers told him that
he says
that was not.
That's what he says.
Well, somebody filed the lawsuit.
But there's the problem. Farm products sold by a producer directly to consumers are explicitly exempt from sales and use tax under Louisiana statutes.
So the farmers raise the cows.
Quickly, just the gross proceeds derived from the sale in this state of livestock, poultry, and other farm products directly from the farm are exempted from the tax levied by taxing authorities, provided that such sales are made directly by the producer.
Yeah, if you have beehives and you collect the honey, you're allowed to sell that without tax.
Under that statute, okay?
Yes.
He said, yeah, but under the tax code, that's what the sheriff said, which says any sale of livestock, poultry, or other farm products made directly from the farm, directly by the producer, regardless of the purpose to which it will be put when sold, is exempt from taxation.
Well, that's the same damn thing.
Yes, it is. In two different places.
Well, just because it's not in the same shape when he started.
This was all pointed out to Country Seal. Country Seal.
Sheriff,
I like that.
Sheriff Country.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sheriff Country Seal.
Give the man his due.
The State Department of Revenue told him, no, it's exempt.
And they still went ahead with the case?
Still didn't clear it up for him.
I'm surprised the judge didn't fine him.
So Louisiana Agricultural Commissioner Mike Strain sent the sheriff a letter. Based on these statutes, farm products raised on the farm and sold directly to consumers by the farmers are tax exempt.
Period. Strain
added, the law cannot be any clearer. But it wasn't clear enough for Seal.
So he continued
sir.
On his path.
Smith says he even reached out to the sheriff, but was told they were dead set on taking it to trial.
Wow. Who is they? So he had support in this?
Oh, yeah. So Seal was dead set on wasting taxpayer dollars is what he was doing. Wasting Smith's time and money and then losing in court. Last week, District Judge Alan Zombrucker sided with Smith. The court finds that the broad terms of farm products would certainly include livestock and livestock products.
Even after they're butchered, yes.
And noting that Smith's Ranch is clearly the producer of the farm product in question.
Wow. So he lost his case.
Smith, victorious, has dared Country Seal to appeal. If he really believes in this case and needs clarification on the English language, then I think he should appeal.
Wow.
Otherwise, he should admit that he cynically brought this case forward in a shameless attempt to generate revenue by publicly apologizing and paying my legal expenses.
Wow. Mr. Smith and his farm need to be concerned for their safety.
Hang on. A Facebook post over the weekend by the Washington Parish Sheriff's Office said it would not appeal the ruling and said this. Sheriff Seal filed the lawsuit on behalf of the citizens of Washington Parish, all of whom benefit from the collection of all sales tax, which is distributed to many recipients, including school systems, parish and municipal government, law enforcement, and other entities as specified by law. The litigation was filed on the advice of counsel with no animus against any business.
Okay, that horrible Mr. Smith is just trying to cheat the school, cheat your city and your parish.
And now, like NBC, I'm going to give you a happy ending to this story.
Oh, good. I love inspiring
and
America.
like Deshaun Watson was looking for, a happy ending to the story. Smith says it has had a silver lining. Randy Seal has drummed up tons of business for me. I have people making bulk orders. Lots of people just want to come and buy 2 steaks just because they're happy to hear about this.
Just because they know there's no tax being paid by.
While the judge's ruling this month only applies to Smith, it should also protect at least 100 other Louisiana farmers who are currently
doing the same thing,
basically getting litigated for tax dollars.
By sheriffs across the parishes.
Yes. And luckily, most of those cases after this ruling were just dissolved.
Well, maybe they've got too much damn power now.
Well, how do you get your money? If you're the sheriff, your job is to enforce the law, right?
Yes. So but if you don't understand it.
Yeah, you have to understand the law.
Oh, wait a minute. It's just like
but he's elected.
He's interpreting the law.
That's not his job.
His own
that would be
his own understanding.
That's SCOTUS. SCOTUS interprets the law.
Exactly.
Well, not to bring it right back home. But anyway, so farmers that are out there in Louisiana, continue selling your goods to the public, please. And in fact, let's face it, it's probably better than anything you could get at the grocery store anyway.
It always is. It's more flavorful.
Certainly.
I know they're not putting preservatives in it, that kind of thing. You know, now that you say that about taxes, I only saved 2 stories this week. One was about the number of lonely men. And it apparently is because they can't meet women's high standards.
And you know what else? They think that life just passes them by.
Apparently it does.
But they shouldn't drink from a silver cup.
No. But in Tokyo, I'm going to take it outside the boot completely. But in Tokyo, the Japanese government has really been hitting their tax pocket because since the pandemic, they're not collecting money for alcohol sales.
Really?
And they're in dire need of people, the young people especially, to drink. They need them to drink. So they're doing a campaign to try to get, liquor tax revenue. They're trying to.
Hello, are you young and bored and don't know what to do?
Well, it's a contest.
Have you considered alcohol?
It's called Sake Viva. The Sake Viva campaign, overseen by the National Tax Agency, invites participants to submit their ideas on how to stimulate demand among young people.
What a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Sake
Viva.
Yes. So they want the kids to be like a paper towel and suck up sake.
Suck up the sake. So they are stimulate demand among young people for alcohol through new services, promotional methods, products, designs, and even sales techniques using AI or the metaverse.
Yeah.
That's what their website says.
So
when I was trying to understand why you would buy property in the metaverse, this is exactly the kind of thing that you would do, right? The Japanese government buys a billboard in the metaverse.
It doesn't exist.
No, it
doesn't exist.
It does if you see it.
It's digital. It doesn't. We are analog. Sorry.
Well, maybe in the future,
there's no property in the metaverse.
I don't know.
It's limitless.
If it might go there,
it's limitless.
The contest includes promotional ideas for all types of Japanese alcohol. Applications are open until September 9th, and finalists will be invited to a final tournament in November in Tokyo.
People are so stupid.
I don't know what kind of tournament, and that movie Squid made me wonder what kind of tournament.
Oh, you mean Squid Games?
Squid Games, yeah. So now we got Sake Viva games. What are they going to be like?
Well, I would imagine there are going to be a bunch of people throwing up at some point.
Well, it does seem inappropriate.
That's how you could gauge how well your campaign's working.
What?
You need people to throw up into the proper receptacle.
Oh, okay.
And you actually measure the copious amounts of that stuff.
Yeah.
And hey, you put it in a centrifuge and spin it, you might get some kind of cooking
oil out of it. Yeah. Well, and they said that young adults there, 30% of people in their 40s to 60s drink regularly in Japan, compared to just 7.8% of people in their 20s.
What a bunch of lightweights.
That's a huge difference. But you
know why the people aren't in their 20s? And I bet you that, okay, they don't drink alcohol, but I'll bet you that pills think they're doing are other big business.
Yeah, we don't know anything about this. We don't know anything about that, yes.
And especially pills that are speed, because we know how much they need to focus when they're at work.
Well, it made me think about Americans, because I'm like, really? Only 30% of people in their 40s to 60s drink?
Uh-oh.
Bella says that's bullshit.
Yeah, she did. All right. Hopefully she'll stop barking pretty quick, but that's okay.
It has to do with the weather.
Yeah.
Everything has to do with the weather. We've tried to tell you people that.
Bad weather's coming.
We have tried to tell you that.
I see a bad moon rising.
Yes. So, Americans are not lightweights when it comes to alcohol. However, the Penn State has reported the 2021 results of alcohol consumption in America, and 63% of men drank alcohol compared to 57% of women. 70% of those 35 to 54 compared to consumed alcohol compared to the younger 60%.
Well, yeah, but you're going to drink more when you get older simply because life is beating you down and you just need
they
an
even
escape.
break it down. Asians, Hispanics, and people of color.
Well, that's racist.
Well, they don't drink wine.
Really?
Yeah, they're not wine drinkers.
No, neither am I.
Yeah, no, me either. More college-educated consumers.
Don't get me wrong. I'll drink really cheap, nasty, rotten.
They want to know if you went to college and you make over $100,000 and you don't go to church, you drink more than somebody who makes under $100,000, religiously attends religious services.
Well, that's because if you're really religious, you can't drink that much wine because nobody wants to be totally full of the host
of the blood
or the blood. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yes.
They broke it down to millennials and Gen Zs. They spent 40% compared. Gen Zs compared to millennials spent 40%.
They smoke
less.
Way more weed.
Exactly. So when you said pills and that's probably what's going on.
And so that is what's going on.
Because the current generation is not really drinking.
No.
Yeah.
And well, good on them, I guess. They're also not getting sunlight, so there's that. Anyway, we gotta wrap it up here pretty quick.
We are gonna wrap it up. I think that's probably
first week of school. We're kind of busy, and the weather's fixing to go bad. But I've got a couple real quick stories that I think are worth talking about. I'm not.
Do you really, G?
Well, it's something that's interesting, and it's Cambridge University. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Those people.
It's a small school in England.
They got a good
That's
rep.
not important right now. They are about to release a digitized copy of these manuscripts, 180 of them, about medicine from the Middle Ages, full of pictures and cures. Now, it's all written in Middle English, so you'll need, for most people,
some translation.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're definitely going to need that. But it's got the cures, all these cures. There's a picture of a body with all the veins and which veins you cut to treat which afflictions. So like gout, you cut a vein in the leg.
Ow.
Yeah. For arthritis, you cut one in the arm.
Ow.
I know.
That's not going to help my arthritis.
Oh, no. It's amazing. They've got a 15th century drawing of urine flasks with all the different colors and what all the different colors of urine mean.
Well, we knew that bowel movements in urine were often diagnosing all sorts of things.
The recipes include a number of common and garden ingredients. Some of the ingredients include dove feces, fox lungs, and eel grease. One treatment for gout involves stuffing a puppy with snails and sage, roasting it over a fire, using the rendered fat to make a salve.
Oh.
That's gout. Another gout treatment, by the way.
And they would have done that a lot for kings.
Gout was a real problem in the Middle Ages.
For the rich.
Gout treatment suggested using, salting an owl.
How did the owl feel about that?
I didn't like it.
He probably did.
And baking it until it could be ground into a powder.
Oh.
So you got to overcook it.
Ooh.
Then you mix the powder with boar's grease to make a salve. Now, wait, one more that I think is hilarious. A treatment for cataracts.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, this one, no question it works.
An arrow to the eye?
No, don't be silly. You take the gallbladder of a hare and you mix that with some honey and then apply it to the eye with a feather over the course of 3 nights.
Okay.
I can't wait till this comes out. It's going to be out. They're going to start releasing it here very, very soon.
All right.
And it has descriptions also of things like how to know if a skull has been fractured after a blow from a weapon.
How do you know if the skull has been fractured? Is he dead?
I know, right?
I'm surprised anybody lived through any of these treatments.
Is he loopy?
So they must have worked enough for them to have written them down.
Well, no, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, do you write down a recipe that doesn't work?
Well, most of this was collected by very few people, which I thought was interesting.
Well, yeah, very few people.
Yeah, well,
have written.
That's the thing. It's all in Middle English. Here's a good one. This is the one for. Well, it doesn't matter. Here you go. The man that will of leechcraft leer read on this book, and he may hear many a medicine both good and true to heal sores both old and new. Herein are medicines without fable to heal all sores that are curable. Of sword, knife, and of arrow, be the wound wide or narrow. Of spear, of quarrel, of dagger, of dart, to make him whole in each part.
Oh, wow. I had to do it to poetry.
Why not?
Yeah, put it in rhyme. It seems more valid.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
It will be entertaining.
Just all kinds of weird. They have, and apparently there was a thing, and this is one of the things that I couldn't figure out. I was reading about some of the things that are going in the book, and a lot of people complained of eyelid-eating worms. What do you think that is?
Do you think that, you know how sometimes when you're a kid and you first start to see those little floaties when you close your eyes and you see those, maybe they thought there were actual real worms that were moving about, floating?
I don't know.
Or maybe they had damn worms. Who knows?
It's very strange.
They lived a non-hygienic life for the most part.
They have a recipe, and one of
their
the things,
houses were feces, made of feces.
Well, they have a recipe, and this recipe is for a lot of good things. So take heart that we have some of the best medicine going on today. I don't know what actually went in this, but it was for these things: headache, cleansing of the head, for vanity of the head. Don't know what that means.
Well, they're a narcissist.
For those hearing voices.
You mean your conscience?
They called it evil hearing. It's voices.
Your conscience.
Yes. For those who need to clear their sight and their red eyes. For watering eyes. It says, for to slay the worms that eat the eyelids.
The worms that eat the eyelids.
For sore throat and sore mouth. For him that hath lost his speech.
Seems like they complained about a lot of stuff.
And for him that spitteth blood. This is a recipe for all of those things.
All of those things.
Whatever this is, I can't read it because it's in Middle English.
Snake oil salesman?
Could be. I mean, they could say whatever they wanted, right?
They could.
I mean,
they were doing it here.
Doctor, I had my hand cut off. You need a good bleeding.
Yeah, I see your hand is gone, but what about those little worms over your eyes?
How are your eye worms? Have you had a problem with your eye worms lately? And my really, the saddest thing of all is there is a picture of the man with the veins, and they've drawn his pen is, and there's blood coming out of it. I'm like, oh dear. I don't know.
That is a problem you definitely should seek help
but then
for.
you start looking in it. This is a drawing of where to bleed people.
Oh, they're bleeding his penis?
And so I was looking, and I'll bet you if I could read that right there, it says something about the pox.
Oh, thinking that would cure it.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Oh, dear, you've got the pox. Well, can you cure it, doctor? We sure can. How do you cure it? We have to cut it off.
We have to bleed your penis.
They thought cataracts were webs in the eyes.
I could understand that.
Isn't that interesting?
That's not strange at all.
No. When you look at it,
yeah.
And many of these 180 manuscripts have centuries-old bindings, so it's going to take them time to get through all of them because some of them they have to basically fix to be able to transfer them to a digitized account. But they've got little pictures like people getting bathed. There's one picture where it looks like they're doing cupping on a guy's back.
Oh, nice.
Well, if it worked as well now as it did then, it still doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but we've continued it.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of these things, a lot of the cures are based on astrology, and people still believe in that nonsense.
You just lost a listener. There's been at least one person who said, I believe in my astrology.
Oh, I'm sorry. In my opinion.
Oh, in your opinion. But we're both Scorpios, so, you know.
I am HO, in my honest opinion.
All right.
Don't take it to court. I don't want to go to SCOTUS.
So you're looking forward to the book. Name the book again. What's it going to be called?
It's going to be at the University of Cambridge, and it doesn't actually have a name. This is their digitized
we're not
files.
Get to see that.
But if you type in University of Cambridge Medieval Medicine,
they're going to put it on.
By the way, medieval, MEDIEVAL for you non-spellers.
You say medieval. Yes, eval.
But they've got some great stuff in here, and I can't wait. Everything from toothaches to gout to trembling hands.
I don't know why Facebook is trying to sell me a crematorium.
One recipe is for a man who has scalding of thy pintle. I was like,
what is a pintle? Oh, we're back to the.
How do you scald your pintle?
Accidents happen.
Well, I went to stir my coffee and
I scalded my breast once.
Ease the pain of a woman with grinding in the womb. And
he must have been very large.
An elixir for women who have to travel with child to keep them from getting sick.
Okay.
So some of those probably work, I'll bet.
Yeah, there would have been something that's calmed your stomach.
And women who would have promoted that in 200 years, the same cures, probably would have been killed as a witch.
Like seltzer water and such. Yes, absolutely. If it came from a man, it's valid medicine.
Of course.
If it came from a woman, she has a cat and a broom, kill her.
Is that a pointy hat?
We got to kill her.
Oh, no.
It's not a fashion statement. It's a deadly attire.
No, I'm still convinced that most women who were accused of being witches were accused by other women. I don't think men were involved in that.
Oh, because they were worried about their
single
husbands.
women who eyeballed a married man. She's a witch.
Well, then you just need to go to a country that doesn't allow women's eyeballs to be visible.
Ooh, Afghanistan. Yes.
Those poor women. That is just atrocious.
Vacation in beautiful
just when I
Kabul.
think we've come very far and we're more sensible than the past.
The Kabul Hyatt Regency. Come check out our accommodations.
Okay. We probably won't have
We've
that
got a
conversation.
gravel-filled swimming pool for those who like to walk on rocks. And no women will be visible.
No female skin will be visible. You are safe. There will be nothing to attract you.
Speaking of books that have been banned.
Oh, right.
Margaret Atwood's book, been banned numerous times all over.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, there are people out there trying to tell you what you can learn and what you can't learn.
And I bet the bans were done by men who were upset about their depiction of men in Margaret Atwood's book.
I'm sure. You know what? Everybody's an individual. If you think about it, we're all different.
Can't we all
we're
just
all the same?
Get along?
No, we can't. We studied history. We're just not going to do it.
All right. That's about it. We got schoolwork to do.
We do have schoolwork to do. You guys are going to seek your balance in life, in all things, and know that your joy is portable and you need to take it out there in the world.
And according to the Japanese, you need to drink more liquor.
Sake viva.
That's right. And in Russians want you to have more babies. So liquor, babies.
Well, that's because the Russians are killing their people. All right, they're sending them into battle to be killed.
Well,
Well, all right. Well, we may have a nuclear holocaust. I don't
Sounds like another Tuesday to me.
I thought it was Thursday, he said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
Any day of the week.
It was a good movie.
Somebody's being invaded.
You guys have a wonderful week.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks with, I don't know, something.
Louisiana is exciting.
All right, let's go do some schoolwork.
Bye.